Hi everyone, this is Becca from Becca's Music Room. I'm a teacher blogger and music teacher who talks about teacher tips, teacher life, teacher lessons, and all sorts of other things that might help make your life just a little bit easier. Today I'm here to talk about one of my Treble Clef activities that my kids have been loving in my classroom, so I wanted to share it with you. If you find this video interesting at all, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share to help other teachers find it, and I hope you enjoy. My 4th and 5th graders have been working on reading the Treble Clef for the last 2 or 3 months now, and they've been getting much better. So I needed a way to, first of all, check and make sure they knew what was going on, and also give a little bit of extra practice to those who did need that. So I came up with this Treble Clef dice activity. Now there's lots and lots of activity with dice, and I have always thought they looked really fun, but I had never tried it in my classroom. So I made these, tried them in my classroom, it went really well. I got some dice, there were like 10 of them for $1 at the Dollar Tree, so I spent $3 and got 30, which is plenty for my room. If you want to hear about how I kept them from being stolen, you can wait until the end of the video and I'll talk a little bit about that. But first I just want to show you the activity so I don't leave you in too much suspense. So what we did is each student got a paper and they rolled the die, and each die corresponded with a letter that they had to find on the treble clef. So super easy. Each one has 10 different spaces, so 10 different problems, because I like things that are easy to grade. You know, if it's 10 problems, then each problem gets 10 points. Easy peasy. And then I had different ones for the different levels. Now in my product in TPT, there are a bunch of different ones, so I'm going to show you all of the ones that you can use, but this is a great way to prove to your administrators that you are differentiating, and it really did seem to make a huge difference in my students when I had them do the differentiated activity, because the ones who were struggling were not struggling as much as if they were trying to do the higher one, and the kids who were already understanding the concept weren't bored out of their minds. So my first one looks like this. And they all look pretty much the same. They have name and then directions, treble clefs, and then it has dice up here, and it has letters. So this first one just says A, B, C, D, E, F. There's no G because there's only 6 sides of the die, so I had to think of something. And it does, I had a kid tell me, Miss Davis, the directions say die on it. I'm like, yes, 2 are dice, 1 is a die. So just in case your kids mention that, it does say die, but it means a die. So I did all of them 2 to a page because I like to save paper, because I teach 650 students and that's a lot of paper. This next one is also what I use. So I use that one for like my lower level, and then this one for my medium level. And each one is a word. So I have ace, dad, gag, fad, bed, and bag. So they would write on the line the whole word, and then they need to find the letters in the right order. So this really helps because my students were starting to get the concept of where the letters were, but they were still having problems with the vertical alignment of it. So this really helped with that, just having to practice like, okay, if it's ace, then A needs to go first, and then C, and then E, and it helps with that just left to right reading. Sorry, backwards. Left to right reading, which is a struggle in my school, at least. I don't know about yours, but some of my kids are still having problems with that even in the upper grades. So this was really helpful for that. It was a little bit more challenging than the other one, obviously. I did not use these, but I plan to use them next time I teach Treble Clef because I didn't have them when I started. So I have ones that are just letters on the lines. So they have to write just the line letters. So if you start by teaching lines or spaces and then you flip to the other one, that makes life a lot easier. So just line, just spaces. Because there's only 4 spaces, I did add some words at the end to make it a little bit more challenging. These last 2 are actually not dice activities, they're just things that go along with them. So this is what I used with my higher group when I'm doing this activity. I use the single letters, the words, and then this for the highest group. And this is where students have to come up with their own words with the letters from A to G and write them on the staff. So it has the example is bag, B-A-G, and then it's written there. And then they have 10 different ones so they can come up with their own words. If you've already been doing things in class where they have to like match words, then this is really good because they'll already know a couple. So that does help. The last thing I put in here is just basically a blank. The directions say write the letter on the line and the note on the staff. So this one I left really open-ended so that if you wanted to do something different, you would have just like a recording sheet. And I did use this when I did a different activity. I had students pull letters out of a bucket, and I used this one because it's basically just a blank. It's just like a recording sheet. I also would like to do like a read the room activity. I haven't quite figured out how I want to do that, but I plan to use this with that as well. So super helpful for me, hopefully a little bit helpful for you. Of course, I will link this activity down below and see if I can find some really cheap dice to link for you as well. As promised, I will talk a little bit about my dice. I've seen a lot of people who have the little tiny containers that they got from Dollar Tree and put the dice in them. I plan on buying those, but I couldn't find them the day that I went to get the dice. So I haven't found them yet. I'm looking every time I go, but I still haven't found them. They're really great because you can have the students roll them inside of the container, and then you don't have dice just flying around. What I did is I just made a really big deal about not having them fly around, and mostly about the stealing, because I know kids steal dice because I have taken them from students who have stolen them from their teacher and then were playing with them. So this is actually something I wouldn't leave in a center because I don't trust my kids that much. You might trust your kids a little bit more, so you could do that, but so far I don't know about that. What I do is I just make a really big deal about it. I have them, when they bring their paper up, they have to put the dice in my hand before they go to their next activity, which is usually instrument playing, so they usually really want to do it. So I'm like, you have to put it in my hand before you can go do XYZ. So that really helps, and I tell them, I'm like, at the end, I'm gonna count these, and I know how many I have. And if we do not have all of them, like, it's not gonna be good. And I don't even usually have to fill in a threat. I can usually just say it's not gonna be good. And I remind them that I have a camera. And at the end, I really do sit there and I count them. And I do it out loud to make it like really obvious the first time. Like, I'm not kidding. Also, to alleviate some of the dice just flying around, I tell the kids to roll them onto their paper. And I tell them if it comes off your paper and I hear it, then you will lose it, and you will have to just come up with your own letters, and it's a lot less fun. And usually just having the die is like a lot more exciting than not having it, so that usually gets most of it up. I didn't have to take any this time. A couple little tricks for if your kids are either being crazy with dice or stealing them, that might help if you insinuate those kind of things into your classroom. Also, honestly, if I can't trust my kids to do it, then they just won't. And I am still looking for those containers. If I find some, I'll link them down below for you, but no guarantees because I still don't have them yet. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and comment down below what your favorite tip for dice in the room or your favorite treble clef activity. Please leave that in the comments down below to help me as well as all of the other people watching this video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.